really any major thing to do. Masking and the usual pre-built function like the sum and how to compare index and sort arrays. You have the sort function there to do all of that. So I would want to consider NumPy matrices done, as particularly except maybe for the aspects of where you have to get an image into NumPy array or a video, because before you use algorithms on these sort of data, you have to convert everything into a NumPy, as I mentioned in the beginning of the training or the course. So to do that, you use Pandas. So I think I'll come back to this, but I just had to mention that every form of data you have, if it's video or audio, usually it's converted to a NumPy array, a series of them before you can manipulate them. So that's by way of introduction. So that will lead us to our Kaggle course for NumPy. We'll try and do what we can do today as much as possible. Yes, so I hope there are no questions, and I hope the tutorial is being shared, or maybe the links are being shared so everybody can just go through what we have to do over here.
Yes, sir.
I
We
hope
have
that is
the
done.
tutorial on YouTube, so we do share the link.
Yeah, share the link like you do with Alpha. That's fine.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to share my screen now. I think I like what the senior man did the last time. I may have to do the same thing if possible. Where is it? I think as much as possible, everybody is required to follow through on the Kaggle courses, which is something that you guys are also looking forward to doing, if I'm right.
Yes, sir.
So what I would do is that I'll follow through with the Pandas course on Kaggle, and I would actually recommend that everybody here, once we are done, all you have to do is just go do the exercises and you get your certificate, right? I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. So Pandas is a key tool, or is a great tool used for data analysis, right? Yes. So you look at Pandas in general, and you consider it's a course. Well, I think everybody here has registered for the Kaggle account, so it shouldn't be a major problem. Yeah. So if you go there, they'll actually tell you it's a Python library. All you're doing with my part of this training is to introduce you to three main libraries we have in Python. NumPy, which we've had a look at for the past week, and then we had a look at we're having to look at Pandas now, and then we look at Maths Plotlib maybe on Wednesday, God willing. Yeah, so we use Pandas basically for analyzing the data that we have. And so in this tutorial, we're going to create our own data along with how to work with this existing data. That if you have existing data, you have to call it in your Python program or Python analysis you want to do, and to do that. So popular with most of the things that we know. If you're going to do that, you import the library. So I think I'll have to still go to my Kaggle, the other one that I had. Yep. So I would go to that. Let me just switch in between that as well. Let me just create a new notebook for this. Sorry, just a few minutes. Yeah, so let me share this screen rather. Oh, stop sharing. Oh. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen now. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Please, we can see your screen.
All right, sure. So for the Kaggle environment, that the two popular libraries that is always enabled for you, you may not necessarily have to even import this Pandas and then NumPy. So as you can see from my screen, once I run this cell, it's already going to get me the environment setup, and then the import the NumPy and the Pandas here. This code here, I'm sure you know all the rest are comments, right? These are all comments. Yep. And this imports the operating system, the Kaggle operating system that enables me to run all the codes that I'm able to run over here. Right. Yeah. So the two things you have to notice is in Pandas, there are two types of data we're working with, which is the first one has got to do with the data frame, and we call them two objects, right? Pandas has two objects, and I'm sure you know what an object is from your basic programming, right? An object has got characteristics and has got functions or methods. So we have data frame and series. So the data frame is like a table, or it's a table. Table bring us back to what we did in NumPy. It has entries of rows and columns, right? Where here, typically, we call the individual entries carrying values as the rows are called records, right? And then we have a column. So how do you manipulate that in Pandas? How do you do that typically? So we will use the data frame as one object and we use the series 2 as another object. So let's have a look at what we have. This is all there, just that we're expanding on what you have. So to use the data frame, you use PD, which is the initialization we have here. It's not the popular thing is usually, I can change it to any other variable, it will work. Like ST, it will still work, right? Just that the popular thing is it's better you use what reflects the thing you have there. It looks like ST is, let me see. Oh, this doesn't give me error. No, I've not run this code. Yep. Yeah. But that's the popular thing. That's I didn't want to repeat that thing. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So this is it. We are defining a data frame that we'll be working with. As I mentioned, we are creating our own sort of data to work around with. This is actually defining your set of data, but you can also use Pandas to import or get an already existing data in any format that you have. But we'll look at that later, as I mentioned. So the records, the rows are called records, right? And we have the column over here. Okay. So the entry 0 has got a no and a yes value for 50 and 151. And that is to tell you that data frame entries are not limited to integers. Are we together? They are not limited to integers. You can actually use, aside 0 and 1, you can actually use names to do that if you define it as such. So the indexing is not always, the column names is not just anything. You can just define it in this example shown here. Let me just give you this one too. So unlike Yes, no. You can specify as much as you want. And this would give you the column. The column is defined first, followed by the row. A column and a row. Right. So this could be expanded to any other thing. So note how it's done here. Column and a row. So I can expand this to 34 and this to -5, right? So it means that I want 3 rows and then separated by 2 columns over here. Right. So this is basically, I want Bob but we can actually change the indexing of 0 and 1 to over here to something that we would want to, or give the index a particular name. For example, you have a company and you have products. You want to specifically know which kind of product falls under that particular entry. And you don't want to use the indexing of 0, 1, 2, 3 up to infinity, but you want to be able to later sort those particular kind of products. So with that, you can introduce what we call the index as an additional argument in the data frame to help you do that. So let's look at a typical example here. So I'm just copying this, so I'm just explaining in terms of practicality, if you want to do that. Sorry, I copied the wrong thing. Yeah. So what this actually means is the same thing we have over here, but instead of 0 and 1 index, we decide to give it an index of a real name of a product that we have, right? So for example, I want to modify this to say, give me, okay, cars, and this to, what, me, I don't know, those who know cars, you'll be giving me example. This is Bugatti, this is Doguti, and this is
Ferrari.
Ferrari, yeah, thank you. And then give me another one. The popular one people like, Mercedes.
Chevrolet. Ford. Mercedes. BMW.
Okay. Then which other one? This one is phones. Yeah, I like this one. Phones. Popular phones we have. Number 1, iPhone. I didn't. It has nothing, but people like it just for kitchen. iPhone. And then what? Infinix. He said it's for nurses. I'm causing trouble, right? Anyway, I hope there's no nurse here. And then which type of phone again?
Samsung.
Techno. Oh, Samsung is even there. Yeah, so Samsung, right? I want to have an even form of then cars is Opel a car?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I did well. So so let's say product A and product B. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting, as I mentioned, that I'm expecting 2 columns here, right? If I want more than 2 columns, I can just duplicate this guy over here, right? Because if you knew with 2 columns, I just want to expand the thing so you understand what we mean over here. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. So give me something else that we can get different types for. Something else. Aside phones and cars that people have, watches. Yeah, people like watches. Yeah. So Rolex. Which one again? Which one do I use?
That one there, we don't know.
Hey, I use another type. Let me see. Yeah.
Casio.
What?
Casio.
Like this? There's another type that for you people are not you don't have plenty money. And you said Casio. Oh, yeah. And what again?
Quartz. Like there's some watch called Quartz or something.
Yeah.
QART.
Yeah, I think I've seen that before. Like this, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so you see, I have three sort of columns here. So for the product to, I may say three products because there are three separate things over here, right? All right, and then this is C. So this should give me, oh boy. Yeah. Okay, where the error is coming from. Yeah. Wait. Wait a minute. What did I get wrong? Oh. Yeah, it's supposed to be parentheses. Yeah. Hey. Of course, I'm serious. Error over here. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So the items in here is what will determine the type of what do you call it, index you would have. So if you have 5 entries, the products should be 5. That's what was generating the error altogether. So this is like so you have products. Let me say you can do category 1. So those, if you have a phone, this type of phone, okay, let me see, person A instead of product, person B, person C, person D, right? Yeah. Wow, Charlie, the first one there, if you are person A, you are really rich. You are using iPhones, Bugatti, and Rolex. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's very, very rich.
it's a very, very rich guy. But the second person doesn't really exist. How can you be using Ferrari and then that's still Infinite? This is not this is not correct. Yeah, so that is for the data frame. So there are 2 things you can do. You can define that without specifying a particular type of index you have, or you can use the indexing one to specify the indexing parameter constructor as an extra tool to just show the number of things. Let's go to the series 1 series. Right. Let's have a look at that and see what that is. So by contracts, the other one gives you what do you call it? A table of data items with rows and column. But we are saying that series is a sequence of data values. Okay. If a data frame is a table, a series is a list. right? So it's going to give you a list inside of a table, like what you've seen so far. So let's look at an example of how to do that. So typically, whatever we did, if you're doing this in person, I would have just given it to you. After giving you the first one, I'll give you the exercise to do. So typically like what we did for the first one, here you don't define the row and column. You just put everything here as a list, and then it defines that, gives you the indexing already, as you can see over here, right? And the items it can be anything, right? 90, anything, right? Should be able to give you that. How about if you want to get something like this using a series, like in a sequence of thing? How do we express that? Okay, so with that too, we use the series one. You can also use the indexing here just to specify the parameter in which the items you are given also can be found, right? So we can say that a series is a single column of a data frame. If you look at this carefully, okay. And as I mentioned, you can actually assign row labels to a series by using the indexing parameter. Okay, so a series, as we can see, it does not have column names as we have in the data frame. Okay, yeah. So let me just quickly do that, and then we move to something else. So if you look at this, let me just copy the right thing. Yeah, so look at this. Unlike the data frame, here we specify the entries we have, which is like your rows, right? And then we use the indexing to give it specific row names. Are we together? And then we can give another extra name for what these items, that is the entries you have with their names. What do they belong to? What's the name given to it? So if I'm supposed to convert this in here, what am I going to do specifically? I want to convert, let me just run this first. So I'll show you how to convert what we have over there as example for this. I know I don't have time, but just trying to rush through. Yeah. So or maybe let me just go ahead. I'll leave that to you as an assignment, right? Convert this. Maybe I'll share my notebook. Convert the above data frame into series. Yep. Please use get time and do that. Yeah, the next thing I want to talk about is reading from an existing data, right? Right, reading from existing data files. How do you do that in NumPy? So with that, we have a special library we want to do. Assuming you are not creating the data yourself, but you already have an existing data and you would want to call that into your program and then use that one to work. We use you call the library Pandas PD, and then we use the read. If it's a CSV, well, usually Python works well with CSV format, right? So we use read underscore CSV. That's if that is the file format for what you are working with. And then you go specifically to where that location of that data set is and you read from it. Right. So Kaggle has got this data set here for us. Take note that input here is what we called initially when we ran this. So this data set we are talking about, which is review for different types of wines, right? It's actually found here. It's actually in the Kaggle environment. So when I run this, what I'm saying is that, sorry, we are putting everything inside wine review, okay? And PD dots read underscore CSV actually tells us we are reading this particular here, this particular data file here in Kaggle. The dot is to tell you that we are within the same operating system right here, so we don't need to specify the path. Okay. All right. Oh boy, I have an extra. Yep. Hey. I don't have access to it. Really? In 1 minute or so. I'm gonna say I don't have access to it. Maybe I'll start showing this one rather. I hope you can see this screen here. Yeah, so basically that is how to read. But if I had seen, if I've been able to read from there, I'll quickly have shown you how to now manipulate that. Now, once you have the file read with the read underscore CSV, what you can do, one of the things you can do is you can actually do find out how many items are in there in terms of the number of rows and the number of columns. So to find the number of rows and columns or the number of records, as I mentioned, and then columns, you call the name of where you put a data set dot shape, right? You remember shape from NumPy and reshape. Okay. So that's what shape will do for you. And then for you to know the first 5 rows of the data set you have, to read that, you use the head. The head will give you the head function as part of the Pandas library. Will give you the first 5 items you have in there. Yeah, George, your hand is up.
Hello, sir. Please, I was saying I have online CSV file. I wanted to share the link with you so that you import it. Since
Oh,
yours was
okay. I wanted to use this one, but that's it is in the chat or something because I have access to internet, so you can download that already. I think I can even get that from one of the resources. Let me try and see if it's available here. You can share that in the link, but let me see. There was one. Yeah. There was one just to demonstrate that. Yeah. So this didn't work. Let me just show this one. This one would work. So share this stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to read from this place to see if this is data set on weather, right? Let me see, this one will work. Okay. Let me just print a. Yeah. Yeah, but this wouldn't really help our tutorial here. So have you shared what you wanted to share? Yeah, let me see. Okay. Is it the same thing? Yeah, it's the same thing. Is it the same thing that I used, George? George, I think it's the same thing, so don't worry. Okay. All right. So please, you know what the It's the same thing. I found it.
Oh, okay.
Hey, please mute yourself. Your echoing is too much. All right. So you use I've talked about the read underscore CSV. I've talked about the head, right? Yeah. So the next thing we're going to look at under the pandas today, I have to finish, is indexing, selecting, and then assigning or a particular data frame or a series, right? So we are saying selecting specific values of pandas data frame or series to work on is an implicit step in almost any data operation you would run. Okay, so let's learn. We're going to learn how to work with data in Python and how to select particular data points relevant to what you want to analyze, right? So I don't know why this thing didn't really work. What's the problem? Let me look for the data so that I can actually run the live something. I don't want to. I don't really know why. All right. Maybe let me click this to see what it will give me. Please give me a few minutes. I want to get the wines data so I can use that to demonstrate that for you. Maybe I just have to, just use this one. Yeah. Yeah, so let's say you have your data sets all read into this, right? So this review here are just all the reviews concerning the various wines we have, which we did in the previous one. And so when you call it, it displays the item. It shows you the very first few ones. Okay. Now, to access the elements in there, you can actually access them by using the various column headings that we have. For example, if you look at this data set, we have country, right? But the entire data set is tagged as reviews. So if you want to know the various countries in there, you just have to call the name of the data set that you have, which is reviews dot this, right? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you pick the title. And then you should be able to sorry you. Yes. So that's that. So either you use reviews.this to get that, or another way is that you can use a Python dictionary to access that by having reviews, then you quote a particular type of column you would want to display, and that should work for you. We can't actually demonstrate that. But if you want to access a particular index in that column, what you do is that you specify that index here, right? And that should be able to display that for you. Right. Okay. Then let's talk about indexing. I'm sure by now you know what indexing is from your previous class and what I started with. So indexing is trying to locate a particular
Yes, sir.
a particular item within the list of data set you have. And we have two main ways of picking up those items in there. So we have the locate and or lock, you may call it, to locate a particular item, and then iLock, right? What's the difference? So Pandas indexing works in one of two paradigms. The first is index-based selection, right? Selecting data based on numerical position in the data set. And we use the iLog to do that. Index-based selection, right? So this one, if you select so reviews, you have iLog. It means that look through the data set and give us the where, if you go to the data, this is what you have, right? So if you pick countries, sorry, reviews, iLog, what is displayed here is it picks country, and I don't know how I can actually show this properly. Sorry. No. Okay. Let me just try and then explain as much as I understand for you guys to do. So the iLog here. Oh, Jesus. Please forgive me, the background noise. Yeah. The iLog is for the index-based selection, as I mentioned, yeah. But both the LOC or the lock and then the iLog are row first and column second. This is the opposite of what we do with the native Python, which is column first and then row second. Please take note of that. I'm sorry about the background noise. Yeah. Okay. So what we're saying that this means that we can marginally retrieve rows and then marginally, sorry. This means that it's marginally easier to retrieve rows and harder to get columns. So to get columns with iLog, what you do is that you actually specify. I know you know what this means. When you have there's a colon, it means pick everything, right? And then if you want to get column, you use the very first one here to get the column values over here. I just wish you demonstrate this in practice, because just talking about this doesn't really solve the problem. I want practical base. Is there any other data sets we could just manipulate this with? Oh, 10 minutes.
Okay. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please, the link I shared, yours, it was accessing a particular column. That's why you only got array. So if you use only the
Okay, let me
CV,
just try that and see. Okay, let me go back to my, where is my, yeah. Oh, So this is what you sent to, and this is what is displaying. Okay, let me just remove this. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I think we can come back here. I was only displaying the values without the column headings. Yeah. Okay. So let's try and manipulate what we have here. I hope you are seeing the right screen. Let me be sure. Oh no, you're not seeing the right screen.
Yes, sir. So I was quite confused.
Yeah. Let me just share this. Yeah. Please, I hope you can see this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is weather reports,
Data set.
time zone, precipitation, snow depth, temperature, and all of that. Okay. Yes. So that is A. Let me just change the name from A to weather. It doesn't look like it's better. Yes. So let's try and manipulate this. So what we're seeing is that now I may have to just express this. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mentioned I couldn't demonstrate this, but I mentioned that once you have the data set, you can actually access the various columns one by one, but just by calling the name of that, and that should work for you. So you just have to call whatever dots, or you can the same way use the dictionary definition for that, and then this should also give you the same thing. Are we together?
Sir.
Are we together?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Then I came to the iLock and the location. That's for the indexing. No, I actually, if you have a question, okay. So I thought somebody had a question. Yeah, I came to the iLock and this thing, the location, and I mentioned that they are accessor operators, right? And we mentioned that the first one, which is the iLock, is an index-based selection, selecting based on the numerical position in the data set. So if you look at the numerical position in the data set, particularly for this one, so whether sorry, iLog for this, you can see that. Sorry, you can see that when we access the very first item over here, this should give us the year, because that's the very first item. You know, a pattern indexing starts from 0. And what we meant is that, you see, for the iLock and then the lock, LOC, it is column based. Why? Because if I'm entering 0 here, I'm expecting to have the very first row list, projected to me. But in this case, it's actually giving me everything under the year. I don't know whether you understand.
Yeah, we are following.
Right?
Yeah.
Or maybe, yeah. No, let me explain that well, because I mentioned that they are row first, then column second. Sorry. It's the other way around. They are row first and column second. So let me enter 1. Yeah. So it gives you the very first row here, which is the opposite of the normal Python thing, which is column first and row second. So that is the iLog. Now the difference with the iLog and the log, let's try and look at that shortly, is that the LOC, or the I call it log, is that one is label based selection. The first one, I, is index based selection. Then the L is label based selection. Right? Are we together? So what that does is that the label based selection, we are seeing in this paradigm, the index value, not the position, right, is what matters. So we look at the index, and then we specify which particular aspect of the index we want to display. For example, here I want to look at the year 20. Okay, the years they are all 2007, 2017. I want to look at yes, the year, and maybe there's no date, right? No, the very first row, right? And then there's no date. So what I would do here is that I would specify whether, then lock. This takes 2 arguments. It will take, first of all, the index I will want to display its particular. So I'll choose index 1. And then which aspects of that index or label would I want to display? So I want to display the time zone, or maybe just the time, because I want a unique the air temperature. I want to choose the air temperature. So I would have to put this over here. DC. Yep. Hey, how is that? Okay, let me go back to the top and see how. Oh, let me just specify air temperature. I thought they had no. Oh boy, Charlie. I was working in the wrong thing. Hmm. Hmm. Why is this? Let me just try this and see. I just don't want this. Well, maybe the way it's been labeled is where the problem is coming from.
Let's see.
Yeah, because variable names are not, you shouldn't have spaces in there. Oh well. I don't know the exact name. Let me try this and see if this will. Nah, it's not working. Anyway, so that's for the anytime you are using the label based LOC, you have to have two arguments: the type of columns you want to display, and you also specify the index. So, for example, I want the first for, where is it? I don't want to use the air temperature because I'm not getting the particular column name that's given specifically. I want to display everything under year, right? This is how I specify. I want to display the very first let's say about just 3. This is the last 3, right? This is the last one, right? So that's what you have to know. One takes one argument and it takes the index, that's the index base, and this takes 2 arguments. It takes the index you want to display, or the rows records you want to display, and the column heading. With that, I think I would want to, I've eaten 4 minutes of your time. I would want to break here for now, and then maybe continue on Wednesday.
Okay,
Moderator.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I don't know. Would you take some questions?
If anybody has a question, I would be willing to.
Oh, okay. So please, if you have any question, kindly ask so sir can clarify any doubts you have before you go on to do any the assignment he gave us earlier.
It's just that the data was, yeah. George hand is up. Go ahead. The data that I'm working with is something that. Yeah, George.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead. Yeah.
okay, so please, my question is that iLog only works for indices, but the log
Yeah.
works with the table. Let me say the table name. The iLog, the first argument is for the row, and then the second argument is for the table name that I want, or the column name that I want.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to understand the difference. So please, that's all.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Any other question? Yeah. By
I
your
don't know
second
if you know
assignment, yes. Hello. Your second
Yeah, yeah.
assignment. Let me give you a second assignment because
Okay,
we don't
sir.
have half of this training. 1 hour is not enough. You people should think about it. 1 hour is not enough. Yeah. At least another 30 minutes will be better. Yeah. Find out when to use iLog and when not to use iLog, right? When to use index based and when to use column based, if you're supposed to choose between the two, right?
Okay.
That's the second
Okay, sir.
assignment. You realize I don't even have time to look at the assignments that I give because you're always under pressure to finish. Yeah, so since I have the data sets now, I was familiar with the wine review data sets then. So I'll try and manipulate this one for our next meeting on Wednesday. I'm hoping that I should be able to. So you can do the exercise again in the Kaggle for the first one and the second one. It's just left with introducing some extra things which are not very difficult to note. So I think, moderator, if there are no further questions, we'll continue on Wednesday.
Okay, sir. Okay. So we'd like to thank everyone for making our time to attend the session session for today. Please try to do your assignments and also try to take time to practice on Kaggle, because practice, they say, makes man perfect. So with that, we would like to call the session to an end, and we hope to see you in the next session, which is on Wednesday. Same time, same link. Thank you, and see you on Wednesday. Good night.
Good night.
The fire still burning. So much just your baby. Very soon you go pop champagne. But I'm no. My chillama, I want him.